to a slightly late, day video blog from yours truly, the Monocled Gamer. Today we are talking about Monday's blog post, aka Skyrim. Now, I did go over a lightning round on Monday of what I think about Skyrim. Today I'm going to finish that out. I've had a little more time to play the game, a little more time to tool around with it, and I'm going to give you really more of what I think the game does best, and I'm going to give you my final bottom line on it. So, to get started, Skyrim. We already talked about the general interface in the written blog post. We talked about dragons, which really are, in my opinion, one of the biggest selling points of this game. I mean, yes, it is a completely open world, it's completely free, you can do whatever you want, whenever you want, within reason. The difficulty curve stops you from doing some things, just throwing that out there. But anyway, really, the dragons are the best part of the game. They have personality, even if many of them don't talk outside of the shouts, I know. But they have so much personality, and they really just are an incredibly interesting tactical challenge. I mean, first you have to get one to land, and then you have to fight it when it's on the ground. And it's very challenging, and it's very fun. And when you defeat a dragon, it feels epic. I could personally stand for a slightly more epic, you take the dragon's power moment, but it's still really quite good, and very enjoyable. Something that I'm really a big fan of is dual wielding. The dual wielding system in the game, two swords, all that kind of thing, it really works well. And I think it works best in Magic. Having the ability to have two different spells that benefit each other, one in each hand, is incredibly useful. Weakness to fire, Firebolt, you're dead. Awesome. However, the thing I like even more is that you can have the same spell equipped to both hands. Which means in the cases of the basic magic of the game, which the original spell, unlike Oblivion where it was these little flare fireball things that dealt some damage. The basic fire spell in this game, Flame, I do believe it's called, is a continuous stream of fire. You hold it out, you shoot a stream of fire. It's not infinite range, it's relatively short range, but it's really very cool and very good because you can just hold a flamethrower on something. And if it's already on fire, it deals more damage. Well, if you purchase the proper upgrades in the destruction tree, we'll get to the skill perks in a little bit. If you purchase the dual wielding skill perk, you can equip the same spell to both hands, and if you stagger when you activate, you'll just go and just have two separate flamethrowers going. However, if you press them at the same time, your character will take the magic in both hands and combine it, basically more than doubling the strength of a spell. At least in my experience, it is more powerful to combine a spell than to shoot two separate versions of it. Though the two separate versions is really fun. Being able to backpedal and just throw fireballs like this is really entertaining. But, again, stream of fire thing. Doing this and shooting a Kamehameha of fire is really, really fun. And very effective. It's very effective. So, I really enjoyed that system. I feel like it gives Magic even more versatility than Magic already had. And it is, in my opinion, the biggest reason why Magic is still the end-all be-all of this game. If you want to really do everything, Magic is so good. I would be impressed by any character who makes it to the end of the game without ever using Magic. I mean, truly impressed. It would be absurd. It gets everything done without Magic. Well, except for the College of Magic, but that, you know what I mean. Point is, Magic is really good. The new conjuration system works well. Instead of raising a zombie out of nothing, you actually get reanimate dead or reanimate corpse, depending on what level, and so on. And you can reanimate the remains of people you've killed, or anything you've killed, really, and it will follow you along like a pet for 1 minute, and it'll attack anything you want with whatever it had equipped when it died, unless you took it, in which case it will not still have it. But the point is, for that minute, you have whatever enemy you just killed. I mean, I loved running into bandit holes, finding one of the elite bandit guys, killing him, reanimating him in a room full of his buddies, and he just pulls out his great sword and just starts lopping off heads. Oh my gosh, that is super cool and very effective. That's great. And when they die, you don't even lose access to their stuff. You can only reanimate a corpse once. Once that minute is up, and you can't extend it by like hitting them with the spell again. There are perks that can, but that's different. Once that time is up, they dissolve into a pile of ash, so you can't do it again. But you can still loot all of their stuff from said pile of ash. So it's just fantastic. It's really quite awesome. Another level of conjuration there, and I really enjoy it. Onto the, in my opinion, best thing that they've done with the game. Leveling in Oblivion and previous Elder Scrolls games was complex, and it still is in Skyrim, but to a much lesser degree. When you level up, which happens based on you using a skill and that skill's rank leveling, increasing, when that skill's rank increases, it increases your overall level a little bit. And enough of those will increase your level from like 8 to 9. When that happens, you get to pick a new skill perk. Every skill in the game, and they've added some, every skill in the game has its own tree constellation of skill perks. And you work your way up based on your level of skill in that thing, and they give really nice benefits. It improves the abilities of whatever you're doing. One-handed weapons, it increases the speed you swing when dual-wielding them, or increases the amount of damage they do, or decreases the amount of stamina it takes to use a power attack. And that's just a few of the trees. Really, you're not gonna max out every tree in one playthrough. It's just not gonna happen. And I like that. It's more restraint in a way than we've seen in these games, but it's also more license, and that's just a lot of fun. To not take up an overly large amount of time, I'm going to get into what I feel the drawbacks are. Really, I feel like the biggest drawback to Skyrim is almost its biggest strength. It's the freedom. Skyrim is huge. The world is enormous, and it's beautiful, and it's really incredibly distracting. And because of that, it's so big that nothing seems important. I mean, truly, nothing seems important. The main story of the game, which is, why are the dragons back, and burninating stuff, and Trogdor, you don't really care. To be honest, all the story in the game, the little quests, the big quests, all of it, feels like excuses. It doesn't motivate you to do something, it just tenuously explains why you're doing it. It all feels like a means to an end, and all you care about is the end. Yeah, I can climb the 7,000 steps up the giant mountain and fight frost trolls and saber-toothed cats and crap. But I'm not doing it to meet the fabled monks of super coolness. I'm doing it to get a new power. That's it. I don't care about the monks of super coolness. I wish I did. It would be cool. But in the end, the story of this game never really sucked me in. It never captivated me. I was really hoping it would. The game starts off strong, relatively speaking. I mean, I'm, to be honest, sick of the, you're a prisoner with a shady and unknown past. Yes, I know that lets us make up our own story, but I feel like the game could benefit from a greater narrative, from something that pushes you along a little bit more, that sweeps you up more. And while this would defeat a little of the freedom of the world, I really feel like it would add more than it would detract. Skyrim is too big. I was reading reviews and other comments today about the game, and a lot of what I've seen is that the game's fantastic. And I can't argue with that. There's so much that's just done so well. There's a lot of polish, a stupidly huge amount of detail. It's a world. But at the same time, it's too much. It's too big. It's too diverting, too distracting. And because of that, it takes away the gravity of what's going on. It takes away the... how to put it? It takes away any sense of necessity and replaces it with, sure, I could do this and save these people, but why? Why do I care? I can just go over there and buy a new suit of armor and go wander off up that mountain. There's probably something cool up there. But I can get cool boots. Ooh, or magical robes. That would be sweet. I can use magical robes. And then you ignore whatever you're supposed to be doing and wander off. And while that is part of what this game is all about, is letting you do that, once you start, you don't really care to ever go back. And to me, I love story. That's what this blog exists for. And Skyrim story, as much as I've gotten into it, hasn't been enough to make me want to keep playing it. If I go back to play Skyrim, it's not because of its main story. It's because it's fun to putz around with the magical spells and fight giant stuff in beautiful HD. And I feel like that's a failing the Elder Scrolls games have suffered from for a long time. To date, I have still never beaten the Oblivion story. I put over 100 hours into the game. I have made it through maybe two-thirds. Not two-thirds. I have not made it through two-thirds of the story. I'm like a quarter to a third of the way into the main story. I just don't care after that. It seems pointless. I mean, like, I get it. There's a point. You're saving the world, blah, 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 Oblivion, blah, 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 Skyrim dragons, blah, blah, blah. But I don't care. The game doesn't make me care. It doesn't seem important. The narrative isn't there to draw me through. And so, to be honest, I'm not in a rush to pick up Skyrim. I'm really not. I rented it. I played it less than I thought I would. I was sucked in less than I thought I would be. This is a game for people who make up their own stories and are willing to do that from the beginning onward. If you're one of those people, if you don't need that pull of a narrative to keep you in a game, go for this. Skyrim is everything else. It's super detailed, super customizable as an experience, and that's great. For those of you that want that narrative, who want that story that just makes you go, oh, what's going to happen? What next? What's going to happen next? I got to know. Don't go here. Pick up something else. Play through that story first. Come back to this, Black Friday or around Christmas when it's probably dropped in price, hopefully a little bit, or when you can get it as a gift. Gifts are good. Honestly, that's my opinion. Skyrim is a great game, but not for narrative. It's a great game for open world, for customizability. So if that's what you're looking for, check it out. Either way, pick it up as a rental, My opinion is my opinion. Test it out for yourself. But until you've tested it out, don't drop the 60 on it. You might find yourself biting off literally more than you can chew. It's enormous, truly enormous. So that's all for today. Until tomorrow with This Week in Gaming, I am the Monocled Gamer. Stay frosty.